Hello, everyone. My name is Isabella. I work with marketing here at TATOPT, and I'm here with Mark Taccolini, who's our CEO and founder. And I would like to thank you, welcome everyone to another Tech Tuesday. Today, our topic is going to be responsive design, and we'll get into it in a second. But let me just let you guys know some things. First, this session is being pre-recorded, which means that we do not have live chat available. But don't worry, we'll still be available for Q&A at the end. At our Discord side, I have here our website. If you go to support, you can find the direct Discord link. So if you have not connected with us there, make sure you do. And before we get into it, once again, if you have not subscribed to our channel, please do so. We do the sessions every week, bringing in different technical topics to really try to show you more of what our platform can do. So thank you. And Mark, let's get into it. Welcome. Like I said, we got our topic is responsive design and RESS. Do you want to talk a little bit intro what we're going to see today?
Thank you. In this section, we'll show, of course, how we do in TouchSoft framework some of those features, but I will also address the technology in general. And by the way, when we do those videos and we talk with the community, Isabella, let's make sure to prompt them to give ideas for the next teams, and not necessarily based on how to do that in frameworks. Over the next few weeks, we are going to expand anything you want to us to do a deep dive in the technology in general, software technology, AI, industrial automation, HMI partners, communication. Feel free to give the recommendation. We can spread a little bit more the scope of the type of technology we are talking.
Perfect. And I will let you guys know, we do have a special Tech Tuesday coming up soon, which is going to be around the ML.NET technology. You guys can follow our socials to learn more. I will be promoting that soon. But a little bit of a spoiler to you guys.
Exactly. And one of those items is this matter of responsive design, because in general, people understand a responsive design being able to have a user interface that when we change the resolution of the display or the window we are looking the information, the content will be adapting. And that's not exactly new concepts. If you look, for instance, any website is responsive in that sense, because as you move the website page, of course, there's some resizing of the blocks. So every website is responsive. But when you apply that to human-machine interface and to scale the UI, there are many ways to do that implementation. And in fact, there are even some concepts that some people does not really even knew about, like RESS, what that even means. And we'll explain what that means a little bit if you're not familiar with the meaning of that. But when we work with SCADA HMI, there is slight difference from our websites, because most websites, they are static, which make much easier to do the redrawing. And also industrial automation, very common, you have process diagrams like this one, that we have the view of a machine, or you have some other displays that are showing some process, some factory floor fields, that you cannot just start moving things around. It's very common in HMI to have displays that it's not blocked base, that you can just spread things. So how to develop the application, combining those two type of features and should be responsive.
Mhm.
That's the goal of the meeting. What else I need to make sure to explain, Isabella?
I think we'll talk a little bit about layouts as well inside our software, but let's get into, I think,
Yes.
the base of it first.
Yeah. So when we have an application running, and I was planning to run in this solution one, but I just changed my mind. I opened this bottom line.
Perfect.
Yeah. And let's put, and this is a good one to run because it's in our standard products installation. So it's a good one to do. And as I'm doing a quick reminder, our environments, this is where you select the projects. I just open the project, that's the designer. And when the designer just went to action run to put the application to run. And when the application is running, we have this tool that called a startup tool that starts putting all the modules to run. So you see we have alarms, storing, field devices, data sets, scripts, reports, and the displays. So you have all those modules running backgrounds, and the displays are the one that are visible. That's the UI interface. So here it's a very good example of that, because if you look at this diagram, you see we have this is one block, this is another block, and this is a dashboard style of display.
Nice.
That you see when you put the mouse over, you have this little icon that you can maximize each one of those blocks. That's our dashboard style display. Or you can also pick up any one of those blocks and start to modify the size of that system. And on the configuration tool, you can go even beyond, of course. You can very easily modify the position and add and remove blocks on the design tool. I'll not go into much detail on that because we will have one section that will go on deep dive on the drawing tools,
Yeah.
which is not this one. But in our products, it's very important to give these concepts. An industrial automation product is different from just a reporting tool or an IT data mining. Our package is designed to create user interfaces to be used in real time to do the real low-level control of the factories on the process. So we put lots of effort in the concepts that there is the drawing tool, the environment tool that give us the full freedom to draw anything, and the runtime tool, because we don't want the final operator of the machine to decide if data is important.
Yeah.
The operator, as the name say, should be doing the operation of the machine, but is the engineering group that decides what information should be available in each context.
Perfect.
So some people decide, oh, why you don't allow the operators only to move the blocks around, or why you don't allow the operator to do a complete new drawing on the runtime? It's on purpose because that's not the operator to do that. And you say, oh, but I want to customize that while the application is running. It's fine, because if you are with the authorization to do that, if you are a system engineer that have that authorization to do that level of customization, you can open our designer tool. You can access that interface, And you can dynamically modify those interfaces, creating new ones, or modifying the ones that you are looking. And those modifications will be applied in real time.
Perfect.
But in this case, I use the complete tool with another credentials for security. Make sense, Isabella?
No, absolutely. Everyone has their own function and job.
Exactly. And it's important to understand that distinction why we have the very clear isolation, including security on the both models. But that said, let's explain this one. This part on the left side, you see that as it grows, the relationship of this drawing remains the same. So this work as if it was an image, resizing proportionally, but of course it's not an image. You see, you can have lots of real-time elements here on the display. So it's a full
Animated.
interactive UI, but works as a traditional canvas. That's the name you want to learn. Canvas is a type of drawing that each point has an XY coordinates, and to resize, it keeps the full proportion. And when you look this example, you see that we, like a website, we always have a title here in the top, a title bar. That's always the same. I can keep moving the screens here on the bottom, but this page here, this little bar, stays always on the top. That's a very common design in web page. They call that frames. WordPress call that another names, or they call also frames, Abella, in website design?
It's really a header.
Header.
Yeah, so that's how we call it. Very
Yeah,
common.
in this case, a header, but that can be also on the sides, can be a sidebar, can be
Yes,
a
or a
bottom
footer.
line. Yeah, they are like frames. Okay. So in this application here, we have two frames. We have one header that's always there, and we have this working area that is a dashboard style.
Perfect.
The first part of being responsive is when you modify the overall design or size of the window, or you open it in another device that you have not as much a large display, and the system will adapt itself to the proper resolution as you see.
Yeah.
When you do a dashboard design, it's automatically that the system will do proportionally, and you don't have to worry about that. But in some cases, just being responsive is not enough, because if you open this application in a mobile device,
Yeah.
you have a problem, because even you squeeze that automatically, so you move the blocks around. You see, we do that. As the resolution shrinks, I'll do it slower. So you go shrink, and when it reaches the points, the blocks are automatically change the position, so you can see and a resolution more suitable for a vertical display or to a mobile phone. That happens automatically also because of the responsive design.
Perfect.
But what about this title bar? Here we have a problem because I'm cutting this title. And if I try to shrink the title bar, these icons will start to become too small or not be able to see that. When you are developing the application, you can, of course, very easily do the programming the same way you are shrinking this machine. you can shrink the header. But the result will not be nice.
Yeah.
Because we want that even in a phone device, we want the icons to be big enough to use. We don't want to shrink those header.
Yeah.
What do you want, in fact, is that when you open this application in a mobile device, and this button here allows you to do that simulation. So when you open that application in a mobile device, not only the size is good for portrait view, but also if you pay attention here, I have a new title bar where I don't have the names, I have only the icons. I have a title bar, a header that was specifically designed and proper to the mobile view.
Perfect.
The displays themselves are the same, because in this application, we decide that when switching to mobile or to switch on iPad or tablet layout, you can decide what can just be the same, replaced and resized, and what needs to be completely replaced. So what's happening here when I open this on a mobile device, it's not just responsive. It's not that I'm making bigger, smaller, hiding, or showing. By the way, those are the verbs for responsive.
Yeah.
It's shrink, grow, reorder, and hide.
Perfect.
So all the tools that they have responsive design in those dashboards, they do those operations I described. Here is a new one. I'm replacing. So the server computer sends to the client operator on his device another completely new display. Okay. And the name of that, if you go to our documentation, platform overview, technology foundation, UI technologies. Here we explain the UI technologies we have. One of that is this one. And RESS means responsive design plus server-side components. Okay. And before you complain that responsive design plus server-side components should have another letter here like RGSSC or something like that, that's not my definition. Someone else, a few years back, when this technology started to run, they decide to use these acronyms here. That I personally, it's not the way to remember is this RE is from the responsive and SS is from the server side.
Makes sense.
So keep what RESS means is responsive server side. That was the intention of those 4 letters. Because what does happen in this case is the server computer will detect, is this client requesting data running a mobile device or running a desktop? And based on that question, the server computer will decide what that client should see. So it's not exactly response. It is response because it's reaction to the user, but it's a little more than that. It's the server delivering custom contents to different type of users.
Perfect.
We do have some other feature in the product we'll not talk today, that we can also do that based on the user profile. When you log in with this credential, some other credential, you also can deliver to the user different page or different contexts. Okay, but in this case, it's not related with the security. It's related with the type of device. Here we are showing another example. In this example, when we open this application here, it's not only the header that's different, even the entire display. We don't have the map and this tree because it would be completely unfeasible to use this tree and this map in the mobile device.
Yeah, makes
If
sense.
I try to modify the order positions, it would be a bad UI.
Mhm.
And by the way, I talk about bad UI, that's an important concept. In some tools that they don't have the REST technology, they have only the responsive design, you can do things. Okay, you hear the blocks, you disappear that, you replace that by brute force, but it's not a clean design. Okay.
Mhm.
So we are, as far as I know, the only tool that fully support RESS. But I'm not be that arrogant, say, oh, you cannot do things without us. Yeah, you can. But the design not be that clean. You'd be more work to the maintenance. You have to do lots of programming in the UI. You have to start working around because the support's not at the core level. Let's give more examples, Abella. Is that concept clear to start explaining layouts and how you do the implementation of that?
Absolutely. And I would just make a note that, like Mark said, this is not done by scripting. Those are built-in tools that will show a little bit.
Exactly. And another good example that you have when you install the products, I'm not open right now, but this one, which is Asset Monitor Demo, is also responsive, also with RESS, also with RESS. So you can play with that example also to see how they are created. And all those examples, if you go to our documentation websites, you have here the information about those examples that we put the distribution of the product. So in some point you delete that demo from your computer, or you want to see the documentation about that demo specifically, go to our documentation websites and we will explain how that demo was created.
That's
Okay.
perfect.
And to understand how to create, you need to understand two concepts: the concept of layout and the concept of resizing inside the display. So the layout is how you organize your main view of the application, meaning, are you going to have a header, or are you going to have a sidebar? Are you going to have a line in the bottom, like a, oh, yeah, a line in the bottom, like a bottom line? It's not how I can phrase that, Isabella.
Like a footer.
Yes, thank you. Yeah,
Like a
a footer. So when you organize that basic organization of your frames, we're going to talk about layouts.
yeah.
When you resize each display, we still have another decision to make, that is to decide how those objects will resize inside that page. Okay. That is another decision to do. And by the way, I will explain a little bit later how this decision about how to resize inside the page. Let's
Mhm.
focus first on the big organization of your application. That organization, if we're going to have a header, a menu, or how it's going to work, is based in that concept we have in the product, which call layouts. So if you go here to the drawing tools, you have the option to define your layouts. And when let me switch a little bit, just the resolution, so you can see. I think now it's better.
To see
Okay.
the whole thing, yes.
So you can see the preview.
Mm-hmm.
So in this application, it was defined that you had you have here header, menu, submenu, and footer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And this UI that you have on the top decides how will be your, forget the content yet. Let's focus only in this section here.
Yeah, zoom in a little bit. Let's go over that specific
Yeah,
one.
I think I explained the top here.
Mm-hmm.
Then
We'll
we'll
get into the
calculate
preview.
about the previews. Okay. But what does happen here? In this UI, you can define, okay, if I have a header menu, I want my header to be full screen and the menu will be here smaller, or I want my menu to be here going all the way to the top. So here, very easily, you can play with the configuration to do that definition. So now my menu will get in all the left side of the bar, and the header will be in the middle, or I want to have a header that will be stretched out in entire contents.
Mm-hmm.
So you can do with this little editor to add, or you can also resizer. That's very common web pages
Mm-hmm.
that you do the left sides where you have a tree or some sort of navigation. You may want to have a resizer here on the left side. It's a very common web design strategy. But when you decide that, typically, you don't need to decide the size that will be displayed, because as it will be responsive,
Yeah.
whatever is the size of the head, the size of the footer, and the size of the window you are showing the application, the system will try to show the data as big as possible,
Yeah.
organizing proportionally. I'll not cover some use cases now, but industrial automation is very common that you may want to have a custom size to maximize different form factors, some panels in the factory. You want to have full control of that. Or sometimes you can create a display that's very, very large display that will open by default with scroll bars.
Mm-hmm.
So you create displays that are bigger than your layout.
Yeah.
Like when you do a factory floor view, you can do that. So there are scenarios that you want to force the layout to be one specific size, but are a little less common. Now that you have decided how you be your frames, you can start populating when the application starts to run, what you're going to have on each frame. So we are doing the configuration that, okay, in this application, I don't need any footer, any left or any right side menu. I'll have only the header and some contents. And you see, you have three options for the header. You have the G4 header, mobile portrait. When you open that application in one device, that's a mobile phone in vertical. If you're not on design, portrait means vertical. And or when your remote device is not a full computer, it's a mobile device in landscape modes.
Like this.
Exactly. Or a tablet,
Yeah.
typically, also. And this is dynamic. So the same application will deliver based on what is the contents. And you can see the preview of your layout here in this area. So that's how the application look on the desktop. Here is how the application will look on the mobile. So you can have a preview if the information is adequate for the many type of devices you're planning to run the application. Okay.
Perfect.
And it's very easy. But that's the only trick I can say is if you leave empty, it means by default you pick up the default page.
Yeah.
And another trick, what if in my tablets or in my mobile, I don't want to have any menu? I need to create a page with size 0 or something like that. No, you don't need. If you put just any invalid char here or any
A dot.
slash or
Yeah.
dots or line minus, we understand that you are skipping that option for that type of device. Okay. So the configuration is really very simple. It took me way more time to explain the concept than to explain the configuration, frankly.
Perfect.
And this layout is also very powerful because it allows also the application to run in a very nice way in between also desktop and native Windows and web applications. If
Nice.
if you are familiar with our tools, you know that the exactly same application. Let's put this one to run now. This the exactly same application run both in web and native Windows. That's what you call the portable displays. That will be in another section. We explain the portable displays and why we are the number one. And in this case, or not to be humble, we are the number one in performance in real-time graphics for real-time applications. That kind of millisecond resolution, it's
Mhm.
really on us. But the layouts also allow something very important. If you open one application in a web browser, this application I'm running inside a native Windows UI. And the same application can also run, as I'm doing now, inside a browser. You better can see the difference because the performance is the same.
Yeah.
But sometimes the application may be using some graphical components that are not compatible in one environment. You may be using one component only works on the web or only works on WPF. We do have ways the software to disable that automatically and leave the empty space. Or you can do even better. The layouts, we have the built-in logic that if you try to open in a context, this display is not compatible, we will look automatically to a home underscore WPF or home underscore HTML5 that you created a page that is custom to one environment.
Perfect.
That's another topic. I'll not go too much on details. Just a flag. Yeah, it's there. So if you need to do an application that runs both platforms, but some displays will not be compatible, it's fine because as you do the navigation on the many displays, the system is capable of dynamically searching in the configuration for a display that's compatible with the environment that we're running. That's thanks also to the layout feature of the display. Okay. And don't be confused layouts with internal frames or child displays. Uh, I learned recently that some products they have a feature similar to the one we have, and some users they will get confused. Oh, that's the same for layouts. No, that's not. All layouts it's a overall application that applies to entire system, manage the RESS. And we do also have the concept of panels or child windows, where you can define that in one area of this page, you are going to have a child display. And a child display will be another page created in the application.
Yeah.
So you also can lay out your application to have frames or frame inside frames within the same application. Okay.
Yeah.
But that's another feature that we're going to explore in another session. Okay. And then the concept of layouts, it's really something more frameworks only that we do that. In the WCS, you have to go define those frames within the pages to do that. But again, it's possible, but you need to do a little more complex configuration to achieve the results. What else on layouts, Isabella?
No, I think that was very clear. I will note that although we allow you to make it custom to WPF or HTML5, by default, everything that you build in one tool should work on the other, unless you're using custom components, things that are very specific to one or the other. All of the ones that Mark is showing there will work the same way on both. So you only have to build it once, and you have not only the basic application, but also you can start running it on web automatically and at the same time.
Exactly. In fact, all our demos we do to be portable. And when you create a new display, by default is also portable
Yes.
to both type of environments. If you want to, for whatever reason, create specific displays, you need to make that decision
Yeah.
and create a display specific to one environment or another one. By the way, all the customers that created Windows displays in our previous version of the products were amazed, because when you put also version 10, all the previous Windows display, most of them start to run right away on the web.
Yeah. So
And
that was really well.
I'm not, I hold myself not to starting giving too much explanation on child displays. Okay. What I'll do instead is just to give some concepts that will be useful to other presentations.
Yeah.
In this bottom line, that was the first I was running, here is where you define the dashboards. And in future sessions, we explain how this dashboard design works. And you see, because you are in the dashboard design, you can very easily move blocks, or we can add more elements here in the dashboards. So it's really very easy to create a dashboard style page. And this one, how this one was created, this is a child display. So what we are seeing here in this area is that we went here to our components on viewer. We did pick up the child display elements, and we added a child display here. And the child display will do the configuration on what will be the contents of this page. And by the way, it can be dynamic. As the application is running, you can decide what to be the contents of that. So here, just to be a little crazy, I put what's supposed to be the header inside here for whatever reason. But
Yeah,
just
but
to show, go
it,
ahead.
yeah, no, it just shows you how it works. Go ahead.
Yeah, but not really the best thing to do in a real live application. Or perhaps why not? You may want that, depend on the machine that you're showing here, You can put here some comments to act on the trend chart or to do some action to this machine.
Yeah.
So you can have scenarios that you want to have a bar here with some buttons and some actions that want to do in the context of the data that you're showing.
Perfect.
Not necessarily navigation, but those can be actions. And what's very nice, as you see, even at child display, we have the full preview here. And when you want to edit the child display, you just go to add the child display and you do everything here on the same environment. You just navigate in. But when this object is resizing, what I want to do with this display, I want to resize the entire display. I want this bar always to be in the bottom. We do have, what I will not go in details now, the ability that each display now inside each subpage, inside each frame, how that frame will resize. So this entire frame here is defined to resize, stretch uniform. It means you pick up this entire display and you resize the entire display as it is an image. But if you look at this other application here, when I'm resizing here the display, these grids here and this control, they're not resizing proportionally. They're just shrinking to occupy the entire area. They're not becoming smaller. I'm just resizing the width of those components. That is because, and I will cover that again in detail in another page, but when you define your display, let me create one small example here. Let's say I'm creating this display. And this display, I want to be a sidebar menu, or I want to be a display that I'm going to resize. So if I have here a data grid, a tree, or some other objects that I want to resize, let's put, why not, alarm viewer. That would be a good example. So I have this alarm object here. And if I resize this display, I don't want this object to resize as an image file. I want to resize proportionally. So I can make the internal contents of the display also to be responsive. And I can decide with one mouse click that when this display is resizing, this object will also resize the width and the height. And I can also decide that, for instance, this other icon will not resize. This one will always stay here on the top. So you do have, even it's a canvas, even if you are doing free drawing or SVG images, even in a canvas with free drawing, we do have that advanced option. So the internal components, the internal drawing, the internal image, or if it display, it can be responsive also if you want to.
Perfect.
Okay, that open a huge amount of possibilities.
Yeah.
That even, to be fair, you need to do a little planning
Yeah.
to maximize the features, because there are plenty. So, because again, you can combine dashboards with process diagrams, but frankly, that's why industrial automation is this very interesting area that we work. Industrial automation, you do need all those features.
Yes.
because we are not dashboard only. When you go to the factory floor, you need process diagrams. And we really put a lot of effort. And I will say that I believe, I don't know any other tool that makes that as integrated as we are.
Yeah.
To be able to have both technologies, the process diagrams, dashboard, all in one environment. Many very well known and very great products, by the way, they need two tools to do that. They have a tool to do that on the web. Now we are doing process diagram. These are a tool, two complete environments, two complete set of displays. That's more or less what is common in the market, and we just try to make easier.
Yeah, no, I think two things I will highlight. One, complete is what we always say. So all of those features built in, and then the flexibility of it. Think of it like a funnel. The layouts helped organize, but as you get into the specific frames, the specific displays, even the elements inside those displays, you have flexibility to work on that. Obviously, we do a default for you in a way that makes sense. But if you need it for any reason to go into the specifics of that, you can. And our documentation does cover all the specifics that Mark briefly showed.
Perfect. So as Isabella pointed out in this section, instead of replying question live, we reply on the Discord site.
Yeah. Like I showed you guys where to find it on our website under support. You'll find the link to our Discord. If you guys have any suggestions on topics, let us know on our social media, or feel free to email me at marketing@tatsoft.com. I am available. We're always looking for new topics. Like I said, we have some plans, but I would love to hear from you guys what you're looking for. If you have not subscribed to our channel yet, I also ask that you please do leave your like in this video and give us any feedback you have. Mark, any last thoughts before I wrap this up?
Just thank you.
Thank you. No, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much for being here. We do this every Tuesday. So if you have any topics, anything you need, let us know, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.